Luke 6. May God bless the reading of His Word. Now on a Sabbath day, Jesus was going through the grain fields. His disciples picked the heads of grain and ate them, rubbing them in their hands. But some of the Pharisees said to them, "Why do you do that which is not lawful to do on the Sabbath day?" Jesus answered them, saying, "Haven't you read what David and his men did when he was hungry, how he entered into God's house and took and ate the special bread, and how he gave some also to those who are with him, which is not lawful to eat except for the priests alone?" Jesus said to them, "The Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." It also happened on another Sabbath that he entered into the synagogue and taught. There was a man there, and his right hand was withered. The scribes and the Pharisees watched him to see whether he would heal on the Sabbath, so that they might find a reason to accuse him. But Jesus knew their thoughts, and he said to the man who had the withered hand, "Rise up and stand here in the middle of us." The man stood up. Jesus said to them, "I will ask you something. Is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do harm, to save a life or to kill?" He looked around at them and said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He did, and his hand was restored just like his other one. But the scribes and Pharisees were filled with rage and talked with one another about what they might do to Jesus. During this time, Jesus went out to the mountain to pray, and he continued all night in prayer to God. When it was daylight, he called his disciples, and from them he chose 12, whom he also named apostles: Simon, who he named Peter, Andrew, his brother, James, John, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James the son of Alphaeus, Simon, who was called the Zealot, Judas, the son of James, and Judas Iscariot, who became a traitor. He came down with them and stood on a level place with a crowd of his disciples, and a great number of people from all Judea and Jerusalem and the sea coast of Tyre and Sidon came to hear him and to be healed of their diseases, as well as those who were troubled by unclean spirits, and they were being healed. All the large crowds sought to touch him, for power came out of him, and he healed them all. He lifted up his eyes to his disciples and said, "Blessed are you who are poor. God's kingdom is yours. Blessed are you who hunger now, for you will be filled. Blessed are you who weep now, for you will laugh. Blessed are you when men hate you, and they exclude you and mock you and say you're evil for the Son of Man's sake. Rejoice in that day and leap for joy, for your reward is great in heaven. For their fathers did the same thing to the prophets. But woe to you who are rich, for you have received your consolation. Woe to you, you who are full now, for you will be hungry. Woe to you who laugh now, for you will mourn and weep. Woe when men speak well of you, for their fathers did the same thing to the false prophets. But I tell you who hear, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, and pray for those who mistreat you. If someone strikes you on the cheek, offer also the other cheek as well. And if someone takes away your shirt, give him your coat also. Give to everyone who asks you, and don't ask those who receive things from you to give them back again. As you want people to do to you, do exactly so to them. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. If you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. If you lend to those from whom you expect to receive, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners to receive back as much. But love your enemies, and do good, and lend to them, expecting nothing back, and your reward will be great. And you will be children of the Most High, for He is kind to the unthankful and evil. Therefore, be merciful, even as your Father is also merciful. Don't judge, and you won't be judged. Don't condemn, and you won't be condemned. Forgive, and you also will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. For with the same measure you measure, it will be measured back to you. He spoke a parable to them. Can the blind guide the blind? Won't they both fall into a pit? A disciple is not above his teacher, but everyone, when he is fully trained, will be like his teacher. Why do you see the speck of wood in your brother's eye, But don't even think of the beam that is in your own eye. Or how can you tell your brother, "Brother, let me remove the speck of wood that is in your eye," when you yourself don't see the beam that is in your own eye? You hypocrite! First, remove the beam from your own eye, and then you can see clearly to remove the speck that is in your brother's eye. For no good tree produces rotten fruit, nor does a rotten tree produce good fruit. For each tree is known by its own fruit. For people don't gather figs from thorns, nor do they gather grapes from a bramble bush. The good man, out of the good treasure of his heart, brings out that which is good. And the evil man, out of the evil of his heart, brings out that which is evil. For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and don't do the things which I say? Everyone who comes to me and hears my words and does them, I will show you who he is like. He is like a man building a house who dug down deep and laid a foundation on the rock. When a flood arose, the stream broke against that house and could not shake it, because it was founded on the rock. But he who hears and doesn't do what I say is like a man who built a house on the sand without a foundation. When the stream hit it, it immediately fell and completely ruined the house.